Today's episode was recorded in Los Angeles, California on May 7th, 2026. Be sure to check out our other episodes, including one with Sid Sriram on color neuroscience. Don't forget to click subscribe and please rate the show on your favorite podcast platform.
Whether something is an illusion or not is really about what aspect of reality you are trying to infer from it, what you're trying to get out of it. So in that sense, illusion is kind of, for a scientist, is actually the window into reality. It's the mistakes we make. It's the false things that people report, which tell you what's going inside their brain.
Everybody's missing their medullas. Need somebody super. Come on, tell me, where have all the good men gone? Good men, where have all the good men gone?
Welcome to Sing for Science, the show where musicians and scientists talk about music and science. I'm your host, Matt White. Each week, we'll talk about a song by our guest artist and how it connects with our guest scientist's area of expertise. Today, we'll be chatting with singular singer-songwriter Debbii Dawson. Debbie's lyrics often blend philosophy and wit with humor, and her most recent single, Where Have All the Good Men Gone, is certainly no exception. The song's chorus opens with the line, everybody's missing their medullas, need somebody super. Tracks like this, along with others in her catalog like Chemical Attraction, point toward a deeper question. How does the brain turn our shared reality into a felt experience? Also joining us is Caltech neuroscientist, Dr. Daw-An Wu. Daw-An studies psychophysics, the field concerned with how the physical world becomes subjective experience, touching on everything from illusion and consciousness to the nature of free will. By focusing on what we see and feel as they're experienced, he uses perception and illusion to explore the gap between knowledge and feeling, and how our brains construct the reality we experience. The title of this week's episode on the podcast is Everybody's Missing Their Medullas, Investigating the Phenomenon of Perception with Psychophysics. Hello, Debbii and Daw-An. Welcome to Sing for Science.
Hi,
Thank you.
thanks
It's great
for
to be
having
here.
us.
I don't usually stray from the chosen topic to get into biography, but yours strikes me as so extraordinary. I was hoping you could tell us a little bit about your upbringing.
Born in Texas to a musical family while they were on the road.
And your parents had emigrated from India?
Yeah.
And were they playing traditional Indian music or American music?
American or Western music. Yeah.
Was it Christian music?
Yes.
I think I've heard you talk a little bit about this in other interviews, but I think you were homeschooled, correct?
Yeah, homeschooled.
Yeah. So why do you do the quotations?
I just was not in school. Yeah.
Yeah.
We would watch movies and my parents would make us take notes on them. Like the news, I would have to take notes on the news.
I think I read on Wikipedia that did they put you in ESL when you came back?
Oh, wow, that's on Wikipedia.
Yeah. Is that true?
Yeah.
It's like kind of suggests that your parents did such a shoddy job that you were like living this Christian rock lifestyle that...
I mean, they did their best.
Yeah.
I wasn't exposed to a lot of popular music. I'm still discovering it as an adult. So a lot of Christian music, liturgical, like hymns and stuff like that. That's where I first learned about harmony. And then also was traveling and working with different people in religious settings. You get really deep, authentic cultural experiences.
Yeah.
So that was a huge part of it as well.
Yeah. So this one lyric that I referred to earlier about the medulla, it's kind of almost too good to be true for someone in my position who hosts a science and music podcast.
Yeah.
Where do you think that came from?
I don't know. Where did we come from? Good question. The point of inspiration, I first learned about the word because my dad had brain surgery, or he had surgery when I was a kid. So That's just a word I always knew. And then I was writing this song and I wanted to say like everyone's gone crazy.
Yeah,
So like what's
right.
a fun way to say it? And
Yeah.
it's a fun way to talk about the brain,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, what's interesting is, Daw-An, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but your interpretation was it's cutting out our filter to actually process input.
Yeah, that's one way. I thought it was kind of almost like people are dead inside
Yeah.
a little bit, and that, you were not really experiencing emotion.
Yeah,
in
well,
some-
that's true too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's also what I kind of read out of a lot of some of your other songs, the chemical thing, right? If your feeling of love and attraction is just a chemical, does that mean it's all nothing? Or is it just another side of it? This is something that, because I study the things that I do, that some people don't really like having explanations about their emotions or their sense of self or things like that, because they feel like it would cheapen it somehow. But I guess my opinion is that, yeah, okay, so let's say we learn that this feeling that I had, as a teenager, okay, it was chemistry. That's quote unquote all it was. I don't think that really necessarily takes away from it. I think we learn about things like emotion and love throughout our lives. And yeah, sometimes we're wistful about that pure, innocent, intense emotion that you have as a youngster. But then you have deeper feelings and deeper experiences as you grow older. And I don't think I would give those up and just say, I don't want to know what's behind any of this stuff.
I don't know, I do think about that a lot. Like, I'm always reminded of something Mark Twain said. He wrote books and stuff, but he was also a steamboat captain. And he talks about how when he used to go down the river, it was beautiful, and he would see how the sun would hit on the water and the different, the nature and how stunning it was. But then after he became a steamboat captain, it's the way the water turned meant something else to him, and the way it flowed. Now that he knew the reasonings behind it.
Did he kind of explain it like, oh, I lost something when that happened, or?
I feel like he did as a musician. I haven't taken music classes really, so that's something I think about is in music there's math and science and magic too.
Right.
It's do we lose the magic if we lean into the theory of it, or is it still possible to have knowledge of all the theory and still tap into the magical aspect of it?
I bet I know what your answer is.
Well, of course. I mean, I think you must be in a perfect place to appreciate music even more just based on your physical feelings, right? When you sing, you know what happens when it's resonating a certain way. And I mean, if I hear a piece of music, I will not get any of that out of it. I won't know any of that. But it must be beautiful in its own way to know that technical side of things, that when you hear something, that it just adds another layer.
Yeah,
right?
totally. I think so too.
I say this admiringly, but you strike me as a strange person. And so when I heard that you wanted to talk about psychophysics, it kind of struck me as on brand.
Okay, great.
I have to confess, I'm the one hosting the science podcast. I didn't know what it was, so I had to look it up. How did you know what it was?
I don't know what it is either. I was just looking my internet deep dives. I'm what is this and this and this? How does this make feel like this and this?
Oh, it's like that psychophysics.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
Do you remember what your input was when you were searching?
I think of maybe I was looking at the psychology of sound or something like that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because it seems to me that the jumping off point usually for psychophysics is measuring vision. I think the best, most readily accessible example is that dress that we all saw during COVID.
What did you guys see?
I can't, what were the choices again?
Blue and black or white and gold?
Yeah, I saw blue.
Yeah, the first one.
Me too. Blue and black.
I mean, yellow was a little less apparently, but yeah, there are plenty of both. Maybe that's kind of too advanced an example in some some sense. Maybe we could start with something before we get to illusion. The most basic psychophysics that a lot of people have come in contact with is getting your glasses prescribed. It's just that, someone comes up to you, they don't take any measurement of your eyeballs or whatever. They just kind of put lenses in front of you, and they're careful about what they choose, and they just ask you, is this better or is this better? Right? And, long before electronics, they were able to find the glasses that worked best for that person. And that's basically psychophysics. It's understanding the optics. It's controlling the sort of the input into the person in a way that gives you insight into what they see, what they feel, their psychology, what's inside of their minds, right? And then the next layer is, well, what about the things that we can't even agree on, right? What about the things that we don't even have a common ground on, such as, a dress and a picture of a dress and what color it is? I mean, someone might ask, well, what color really was the dress, right? Physically speaking. Oh, I guess you guys then were all wrong, right? And you were right. And that's not really the whole truth, right? We were looking at a picture and we might have been quote unquote wrong in terms of saying this color, but it's not really the color of the dress. But it's really the way the picture was set up, which created this sort of, diversity of how people saw it. So it is true that you saw blue. Like if you were able to read their minds, you really saw blue, even if it was yellow. And so you're not wrong in a very real way, because this is a picture, not a physical dress.
Yeah.
This sort of complex sort of relationship that a lot of psychophysicists have with this concept of illusion versus reality is that it's really about how you kind of look at it, right? So Kermit the Frog says rainbows are illusions, right? And yeah, he's right. If we see a rainbow, there's not really a physical object at that distance that we can walk up to and find a pot of gold. But on the other hand, there really are photons coming into my eyeball that show me this rainbow, right? So in that sense, it's real. So whether something is an illusion or not is really about what aspect of reality you are trying to infer from it, what you're trying to get out of it. So in that sense, illusion is kind of, for a scientist, is actually the window into reality. It's the mistakes we make. It's the false things that people report, which tell you what's going inside their brain, right? It's just like any investigation. A police officer, asking, what your name is and whatever, they're waiting for you to say something false, right? If you say, wait, do you know this guy? And they say, no, oh, he's lying about that. There must be a reason, right? And that's what we think about illusion. It's wrong. There must be a reason, right? And that's what sort of gets you deeper into what the brain is doing or what is being calculated.
Did any of that come up in your preliminary research about what psychophysics is?
No, well, with the dress, for example, with the blue, I was like, when I said it's blue and black, in my head, I was thinking no one would make a white dress with gold lace.
That's actually
So I feel
point.
I feel like there's a lot of duality that exists within myself. So I like to make representations in stuff I make. So there's a big theme is contrast, So playing with the expected outcome that someone might have for something, like a song I made called Happy World. It sounds very happy and fun, and there's lyrics that are literally la la la.
Right.
But I'm playing with minor chords, and the chorus is da 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 da, and then it ends on a da da. So it's like on a major, but it ends at a very
Just
you
hangs.
want your brain to resolve it.
Right. What do you think that does for the listener?
I hope it's interesting, makes it interesting. I think I've been accused of thinking backwards. I kind of, growing up, felt like my head was on sideways, So maybe it will help them kind of see things how I'm seeing them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I want to talk about, independent of one another, both of you had brought up the idea of talking about philosophy. I can't think of many other fields that immediately invite other questions about the nature of reality. This one thing I heard, the guy who's kind of considered the founder of psychophysics, German.
Gustav, is it?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. He was a panpsychist. He believed everything is alive, all matter has consciousness, or he was a very spiritual man, so he thought God was in everything. And I mean, these days, if you said that, or maybe not these days, because there's kind of an important moment happening, but say 20 years ago, if you were working at Caltech and said, I'm an adherent of panpsychism or something, it wouldn't do you much good, right?
That's true. I mean, and if you had said that, oh, I want to study consciousness, at that point in time, 20, 30 years ago, that's like, that's not science. Like, science doesn't do that. But the thing is, as you say, things are getting to that point where we're getting more and more comfortable in addressing deeper and deeper things into the subjective. So if we go back to, like, I don't know, the 50s or so, psychology had actually kind of but contracted a lot in some sense. Like that, it was no longer about interpreting dreams or trying to think through psychology, but instead it was like, okay, behaviorism says that we can only study what we can see, what we can measure, the behavior. We're not going to read further into that. At extremes, some people would say, no, the thoughts don't even exist, that are their illusions. It became very conservative in saying that, okay, this is the territory of science, right? And slowly it's been increasing. Like I think the first thing that someone was able to convince, the psychology world to say, oh, I think we can study something called attention. Like if I'm paying attention to this versus that. And it has a measurable outcome. And so I no longer have to say, oh, we can't think about anything mental, right? We can't study anything mental. And then slowly from there, you go step by step until now, it's actually, okay, we think that studying consciousness is a valid scientific pursuit now. And actually grad students can say that and be welcome.
What are both your personal definitions of consciousness?
Maybe I might have to join his school and study it.
No, I think the consciousness it should be a lay term. It should be a term that everybody uses and everybody understands. It's just what I experience. I'm not just an object that doesn't experience its being itself. I actually see things and feel things. Unless you're a panpsychist, which actually I am leaning toward that, which is to say that even a rock has consciousness. It just basically has nothing. There's just almost no information in that consciousness. It's almost not a consciousness. I guess what science would do as it progresses is to really lend finer definitions on it and say, well, it's this, but it's not this. It's this, but it's not this. But I think the starting point should be, well, I think consciousness is this because that's how it feels to me, right? And you should try to get that from as many people as possible and then figure out what's in common there. Not start from just like a textbook or a dictionary and say, oh, well, the dictionary says this, so that must be consciousness.
Well, Debbii, what was your interest in, as it pertains to what we're doing here today, about the intersection of this field with philosophy?
Well, I'm Asian, and so I think from my background, we're expected to be doctors and engineers and stuff, which is cool. I don't like blood. I can't do blood. So that was not an option for me. But I was thinking about the root of science and philosophy and the arts. And to me, I was like, well, at the end of they're very different, but they also can be considered different sides of the same coin if you get to the root, which is we all ask the same questions. I think it's humans trying to understand the world around us and ourselves, our place in the world, in the universe.
And it would seem to me, capital S spirituality would be considered a 4-letter word in your circles, maybe?
It can be touchy, for sure.
Right.
And again, it's, at this point anyways, it's separate worlds.
Yeah.
And actually, it's encoded in a system of government too. It's like we keep, there's like the laws and then we keep church separate from state. But then how do you really completely separate out these sorts of ideas? Your laws are built on morality, and where does that come from? Science keeps kind of figuring out and confronting philosophical questions. Maybe someday it can actually kind of get at a root of some kind of, spiritual framework of some sort. I don't know.
It's interesting because, Debbii, when you announced that you're Asian and went on to say it was expected of me to become an engineer or a doctor, what I assumed you were going to say, because I'd asked you about philosophy, was that you had some background in Eastern spirituality or religion, which is very, I guess we could call it non-dualistic, which is what I hear a lot of what you're saying. You know what I mean? Would you be comfortable talking a little bit about how you would define your relationship to spirituality?
Oh, yeah. As a kid, I didn't think of music as something that people invented, but more like something we discovered, as if it was electricity. And so when I create, I imagine that I'm more tapping into something instead of, I made the song.
Yeah. That's interesting. Well, I mean, you're not alone. I mean, so many songwriters say that. And I think there's like a Keith Richards quote about like tuning into the radio wave.
Exactly.
That's where songwriting comes from. But you were saying to me the other day, when you and I, when we were talking on the phone, that a day might come in the not too distant future where the kind of thing that might have been described as woo-woo or new agey, what Debbii was just talking about, might actually be quantifiable.
Yeah, so I think just your exact example of kind of like saying, it feels like I'm just tapping into it. It's already out there. This is something that's pre-existing and it comes out. But the truth is, that's kind of how we live all our lives. As I'm talking right now, yeah, I do have some thoughts that are kind of guiding this. But most of the time when we talk, the words just roll out.
Yeah.
Right? The parts of your brain which are you're not conscious are taking care of all that for you.
Thank you.
So one of the things that kind of relates to is actually right now there's AI and then there's these sorts of large language models which are kind of able to just spit out speech that's coherent and that actually sounds intelligent. And then, but at the same time, there's some people saying, oh, but that's just statistics. AI is just a parrot. And I'm like, yeah, it's a very sophisticated parrot. It's got a lot of information in it. But maybe that's also what we are. I am speaking English and the words that come out are following some sort of statistical rules. And, one is leading to another because it just feels right. It just feels natural. This seems like the right word to say next and then the right sentence to say next. I have trained my neural net on everybody else's, everybody's talking around me. And that's what allows me to kind of fluently say sentences.
When you hear that, Debbii, when he's saying that perhaps my same mechanism of speech is not dissimilar from AI, that it's all based on statistics, I guess most simply, do you agree with that? Or if so, does that take any of the magic away from it?
Do you guys watch Star Trek? I don't know if you're familiar with the character Data. He's an android, but he's sentient, and so he faces limitations. He really wants to be human. He faces, so this is a sidetrack.
No, it's not.
He faces limitations and that not feeling human emotion and wanting to just be human and struggling with that. So a lot of times he's like, I'm just a machine. And there was one episode where his rights were going to be taken away as a sentient being because he was being treated like an android. And Captain Jean-Luc Picard was like, you're a machine, Data, but so are we. We're just made up of different parts. We have our own mechanisms, So I think there's different ways to look at it, for sure, according to Star Trek.
It's also stripping away a little bit of illusion, right? That when I hear someone that speaks very well, that means, oh, this person is very smart, right? Maybe not, right? AI is saying, no, that's just the surface layer of looking very smart. And AI can probably compose music that basically sounds good. But the more we hear it, the more we kind of get used to it, I think we will start to hone in and kind of be able to look past that and say, oh, this is AI. It's missing this.
Can you share with Debbii what you told me about that central tenet of Islam?
Actually, this was told to me by a colleague. He's kind of the relationship between science and religion in Islam is like, science is not something separate. It is essential. And if science shows that, something is true and it's in conflict, then Islam should change. That it will accommodate that. And that's kind of the way things should work. So even in sort of monotheistic spirituality, I think it's not impossible to see, not trying to separate science and religion and reality. Like, for example, like you were saying, oh, this is not really scientific. Well, no, there's science. It's the same, right? It's the same thing. Why are we always trying to split all these things up and saying that they're just like, this is scientific, but this is not. This is spiritual, but this is not. In a way, it's just a different way of looking at things at any moment in time. You can just sort of twist a little knob in your head and say, okay, I'll think about it this way now. I'll think about it this way now. And you're still looking at the same thing.
Is there anything you guys want to chat about before we wrap?
I'm actually curious about your voice.
My voice?
Yeah, your singing voice. Is this something that you arrived at, or do you feel like it was always like this? Or because I guess, what I know from hearing your music is that, it was kind of country at first, and you were saying you grew up in Texas. But then also Indian music or Asian music has a different sort of resonance in the vocals, and I sort of hear that too. Is that, I don't know, I'm just asking.
It's actually really interesting. So I did grow up with a lot of country, bluegrass influences. And then when I sing, and like friends in India hear me sing, they're like, oh, her tone is so much like her grandmother's, who wasn't a country singer,
Right.
But an interesting thing about like bluegrass and Carnatic music is they do have a lot of similarities. I tell people if you slow down bluegrass music a whole bunch, it sounds so similar the way that they are. And there's, I think a lot of people like maybe look it up on YouTube or something. There's probably huge deep dives into this. I mean, even like the Appalachians, like how ancient how they used to be connected. It's a huge rabbit hole.
Okay, sure.
You'll have fun going down, but it's really cool.
Did you have anything you wanted to ask Daw-An before we wrap?
Ooh, do you believe in Bigfoot's real?
Bigfoot specifically, no, but yeah.
Unicorns?
No. I do think that there are plenty of creatures we haven't found yet that are just as crazy. I mean, just like the stuff they keep finding in the deep ocean.
When you're talking about the deep ocean and things that are truly science fiction in appearance, it reminds me of how Jacques Cousteau, I think, he was building all these underwater labs to actually have people living down on the seafloor to be doing different experiments. That was when the space race happened and everyone got moon crazy, and so all the funding went out of marine biology and went into rocket science. And he's like, what the fuck are you guys doing? It's all gray up there. Like, look at this, So I'll leave you with that. Thank you so much, Debbii.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for coming on the show.
Be sure to check out Debbie's new EP, Where Have All the Good Men Gone? Available across all streaming platforms. To find out more about Daw-An's research, you can find him on the Caltech website, caltech.edu. Sing for Science is co-produced by Talkhouse and made possible in part by a grant from the Simons Foundation. Our music is by Panoram. Social media director and video editor is Sina Yusevzadeh. Location recording provided by Alex Waxenbaum. And our digital producer is Keenan Kush. Special thanks to LaDon Shams at UCLA for helping make today's episode possible. If you like Sing for Science, the best way you can support us is to give us a review, tell a friend about the show, and subscribe on your podcast platform of choice. For more information, please visit singforscience.org and follow us on social media at Sing for Science. Thanks for listening.